Okay, let's talk about why the Guardian Druid tier set might actually be the best tank tier set in Season 3. Now, what's interesting is that going from Season 2, all the tank tier sets were kind of meh. They didn't really do anything. They were a random defensive proc that you honestly couldn't really do much about. They either procced and you could sometimes save a cooldown, but realistically, every defensive tier set in Season 2 was actually an offensive tier set because no tank genuinely relied on that tier set proc in a Mythic Plus dungeon. So when we're moving to Season 3, all the tank tier sets are now just directly offensive. Every single one of them has very niche interactions. In particular, I'll explain them in a second, but everyone has some interactions in terms of self-healing, warrior with brutal vitality, druid with the Loon's favorite, which is what we're going to go over now. But druid has one unique interaction that the other tanks don't have. And this is something that wouldn't be obvious unless you actually play druid. So let's get into the tier set and why this one actually might be a little bit really powerful. Like I looked at those tier sets and I was like, hold on, wait a second. I think Guardian Druid is sitting real pretty right now. So let's read the tier set real fast. Just for anybody who doesn't know, thrash damage increased by 20%, straight up thrash damage. This right now is give or take 20 to 25% of your DPS in a key, but that's not the important thing. That's nice. We'll just take that. This is the next part. Thrash has a 40% chance to launch a Starsurge at a victim at 65% effectiveness. You're like, okay, how effective is a Starsurge? The truth is, not that much. That's not why this is good. That is not why. It's the next part. On impact, Starsurges launched by Thrash split up to 3 additional targets at 20% effectiveness, and grant a stack of Gathering Moonlight. Casting the Lunar Beam consumes the Gathering Moonlight to increase your damage by 4% per stack for 12 seconds. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. All that's cool. That's just a straight damage proc. There is, however, one little caveat, which might get changed because it's a little overpowered right now and I kind of don't want to tell you about it, but I'm going to tell you about it even though I don't want to, but don't nerf it, okay? Guardian could use a season, all right? We're not purple, we're not VDH, we're not Pally, just give us this, okay? Lunation is currently counting, which means that every single time you proc a tier set, you are getting the full duration off Lunar Beam. As in, let's go over this right now. I'm going to walk in here. Remember, I'm currently on like 500 ping, so my abilities are going to be slightly delayed. So I'm going to cast this Lunar Beam. The second you see this tier set proc, which will happen soon, observe what happens to Lunar Beam right there. See, I went from 39 to 30. Every single one of these Starsurges is currently reducing the cooldown of Lunar Beam right there. You see that? So we are going to have a lot of Lunar Beams. It just came up with 10 seconds left on Incarn. That Starsurge right there. There's another one. There's another one. Good. It's going to, every single time they proc, and they proc a lot, okay? It's actually quite a bit. They proc a lot. There it is. There's Lunar Beam back. So currently, those Starsurges are proccing Lunation. That is awesome. Which means that we technically not only get an offensive benefit, but we also get a defensive benefit, right? So let's just check the damage. The Starsurges are not that good for our damage. That's not what matters. Like this, don't look at this, because this doesn't matter. It's actually all the things that they proc, okay? It's the fact that we get significantly more Lunar Beam uptime. That is the more important thing, right? Like that's the key here, because more Lunar Beam uptime is just, this button is awesome. This is a fantastic button. There's also some really fun things with the Guardian Druid tier set. So here's one of the main ones. The fact is, this will stack up to 6 times. It has a max stack of 6. You're never actually going to get 6. Lunar Beam is up so frequently that if I walk into this pool, and even if I don't press a single other button, I just Lunar Beam now, and I just do a normal rotation of any kind. Lunar Beam is up so often that this is just simply not going to stack, right? It's just not going to stack enough. Like this Gathering Moonlight thing. I'm not actually realistically getting it to 6. I'm getting it to like 2 or 3, 4, depending on the scenario and RNG and procs and whatnot. But basically, right? So by the time I actually get to this Lunar Beam, this is me just not really hitting many buttons, right? I'm at 2 stacks, in fact. So this is not going to be that crazy, but that's fine. It's just passive. Again, this is not the important thing. The important thing is that the Starsurge are triggering the CDR and Lunar Beam. That's the first thing. The second thing about this tier set is that thrash damage is Illune's favorite damage. And Illune's favorite is our healing. So you won't be able to see it unless I actually go into flight form right now, go all the way up here, and get my health down. Right? If I don't die to this, let's pretend I don't die, maybe I'll cat form just in case. Good. See how my health is now 50%? I will cast no healing whatsoever. But Elun's Favorite is going to be healing me because that's how Elun's Favorite works, right? So I get a tier set proc now, a Lunar Beam. I'm just going to have a lot more passive healing through Elun's Favorite. So Guardian Druid has this weird interaction where not only does our tier set do actually a lot of damage, but because of both Lunation and Elun's Favorite, we're getting it's not a crazy defensive benefit. Like if you compare it to last season, technically speaking, over the course of a key, it might even be less. But there's yet another thing about the Guardian Druid tier set, and here's the really interesting one. Honestly, tier set power, that's all cool, because I don't think that maybe ours is not the strongest. Have you read Templar Prop Pally? Have you read the Templar Prop Pally tier set? Because that might be the technical highest, just straight DPS option, and they also have an interaction with their Templar tree, where they're just going to get a lot more absorb and value from it as well. But pretend we don't know about that for a second. We're probably playing Flashing Claws. This actually is going to make us change a talent. That is super interesting. That's just really interesting. I like that tier sets might actually drive it's going to change a talent choice. I can't believe I'm saying this because I have not been a fan of this past season, even though it has technically been more damage. Doesn't matter. Rage of the Sleeper, I don't think we're taking it. I think with this new tier set, the second you get your 4-piece, basically, I'm pretty sure you're taking Rage of the Sleeper out, and I think you're putting 1 point in Flashing Claws. Now, if you get 1 point in Flashing Claws, you're probably going to want 2. But that's where it gets interesting, because I don't think some people are going to start theorizing that you're going to drop Blunt Frenzy and put it into Flashing Claws. That's a cook, man. This is a take. This is a really, I don't know about this. I feel strongly that realistically this is going to be the build that we're playing. Like, I feel very strongly that we're not going to be double FC. And even if we were, I mean, you can't drop this. This is just simply too good, especially because the more thrashes you have, the more benefit you get from Rend and Tear. You can't drop the Incarn CDR. You're definitely not dropping Elun's Favorite, a Lunar Beam. So the only other point that you could drop is Blood Frenzy. But I don't think we're doing that. And that is it for the Guardian Druid video, because PTR is super laggy, and WoW has decided that that's it. There are a few more subtle interactions, but we'll have to go over them another time. I'm going to be making a video because I love PTR gaming. It's actually my favorite thing, because I can just log on any tank, get full gear, and immediately play it. So I'll be covering all the tanks, and I'm going to be going over kind of like which tanks I think get the most benefit, the most defensive, the most offensive benefit. I think Bear is up there, though. I think currently the tier set for Bear is really good, and I'll be making a video with all 6 tanks, but as you know, Guardian is my favorite tank, so this is the one I wanted to do first, and voila. Let me know what you think about the tank tier sets. I think they'll be a lot more fun than last season, at least. Every single one of them is at least more entertaining than they were last season, which was completely RNG and just So this one, I'm really looking forward to the tank tier sets this season. Okay, that'll be all. All right, see you next time.